Nordiska Kompaniet, NK, celebrates 75 years on the Swedish scene. It all began here in Stockholm at the start of the 20th century when the shopping district was still located in and just north of the old town. The horse-drawn trams have been replaced by the faster electric streetcars. Strolling pedestrians have to quicken their pace to avoid being run over. The fashionable Hotel Referry at Gustav Adolfs Torg, with its renowned bar, is the place to close a business deal. Traffic here is heavy and occasionally includes a car among all the horse-drawn vehicles. Not far from the square at Näringslivshistoria was the established department store Joseph Leia, then owned by Joseph Sachs. A bit of the store's gable is seen in front of the telephone tower. Over at Stureplan, the well-known K.M. Lundberg Company built a modern department store. And since Lundberg and Leia complemented each other, they merged in 1902 and formed Nordiska Kompaniet. K.M. Lundberg started his career back in the 1840s in the town of Nyköping, and it was here in 1905 that NK opened a furniture factory. The site was chosen because it was close to a rich supply of oak. Magnificent logs to be skillfully transformed into solid specimens of quality furniture. And the special NK logotype is already a familiar sight. It was never mass production. The furniture was mostly handcrafted. Rather expensive for the average Swede, but exported with great success to Russia through NK's own sales outlets in St. Petersburg and Moscow that were closed in 1917 during the Russian Revolution. Led by a diligent foreman, the factory turned out curio cabinets, shelves, and other furniture, typical for the period. Metal workers made the frames for chandeliers. And those English-style iron bedsteads that no family with self-respect could be without. It's time for lunch, and this is only the advance guard of the lodge workforce. All the furniture was shipped to Stockholm, where NK had purchased a former riding school and converted it to a sales outlet. The oldest of the trucks for delivering merchandise to customers was a 1903 Daimler with iron bands on the wheels. The old riding school building burned down in 1913 while NK's president, Joseph Sachs, was busy building a real department store on Hamngatan to offer everything under one roof. The grand opening on September 21st, 1915, was attended by Sweden's Prince Carl, Princess Ingeborg, Prince Eugene, and a Swedish newsreel camera. The Crown Prince and Princess arrived for the inauguration of the NK store on Hamngatan. And then King Gustav himself arrives for a look at Stockholm's newest attraction. NK has already become something of an institution. The man with the white beard is master of the royal household, Otto Prinschel. The king's brief look lasted a full 2 hours and included champagne in the NK lunchroom. 4,000 invitations went out for the inauguration. It was a great day for Joseph Sachs. The next day, an equally great occasion. The doors were open to the public, and 35,000 people showed up. next 10 years included the difficult recession following World War I. But now, the middle of the 1920s, the tide is turned. Business is improving. Traffic on Hamngatan is heavy. An NK's splendid doorman is a familiar and friendly part of the busy street. At Film City outside Stockholm, NK models face the Swedish newsreel cameras as the well-dressed women of 1925. We might debate the fashions, but there's no doubt these dresses, coats, and hats really do justice to these unbelievably slim figures. It's 1927, and the newsreel camera is there again for NK's 25th birthday. The staff is assembled in the great entrance hall. And Joseph Sachs is quite pleased, looking back at a quarter century of progress, especially the 12 years at Hamngatan. 1937, the year Joseph Sachs retired as head of NK. Here he arrives at his beloved department store, already full of eager shoppers. Before attending a scheduled meeting, he takes a traditional swing around the sales floors. Telephone orders were already an NK service. One moment, please. Food department? Dog biscuits? Sorry, madam. I'll get you the pet department.
Herr Groth. Jaha. Jag har en middagsbeställning för Direktör Andersson här. Ja, den ska jag ta hand om. Tack.
But another NK service is provided here. Preparation and delivery of a complete meal. Anything from intimate dinners for two on up to a royal banquet. NK caters meals overseas, even in Moscow, where a visiting Italian president invited 200 guests to an NK dinner. Back in the 30s, this efficient machine could clean the feathers from 700 birds a day.
Under det stora varuhuset ligger en gammal källare. Förr i tiden krog, numera upplag för burk.
Down in the cellar were NK's prized pickles. And from the bakery, a fancy cake to fit any occasion.
Men att det är sista gången vi ser den packade middagslådan är däremot säkert. För nu skickas den iväg till det färdigdukade och väntande bordet.
In the Second World War, special Christmas boxes were made up for the tens of thousands of Swedes guarding the nation's borders. Then Crown Princess and later Queen Louise was among the packers filling these boxes with cigarettes, soap, and warm woolen. Countless Christmas boxes from NK were greatly appreciated by the men serving in the south, the west, and the north of Sweden, where the temperature could drop to minus 40 degrees centigrade. With Christmas approaching, it's out to the forest for a tree. This enormous specimen surely is for some city square. Oh no, this great tree is for the great entrance hall of the big department store. And imagine they did remember to string the lights before raising the tree. No need to hold back on the lighting this time. The war is over, and there's peace on earth. One of the many merchandise fairs with a foreign flair was California Comes to NK, with a real live Swedish-American sheriff. In a Stockholm park, he shows off a silver saddle worth $50,000. The United States enjoyed lots of goodwill after the Second World War. Swedes associated America with cowboys and Indians. So the theme in the great entrance hall was the romance of the Wild West. But those so-called potted palms seem left over from a Florida fair. New times, new cars. Hamngatan, 1952, and NK is a healthy 50-year-old. Jubilee specials include an old-fashioned linen boutique, inspected by new NK faces, President Ragnar Sachs and board chairman Jacob Wallenberg. A birthday cake, of course. NK furniture from 1902 and 1952. Women's wear from 50 years before. And the 1902 moving Christmas windows, still popular a half-century later.
Och så går ruljansen vidare mot nästa jubileum.
People at NK's Hamngatan store started moving on modern escalators. And the concern moved south and west with modern branches in Malmö and Gothenburg. Progress also means being first with brand new ideas. Back in the beginning of the 1930s, NK introduced the chain store concept, and the E sign for the EPA chain went up all over Sweden. Later, even in the Haymarket district of Stockholm. Looking back now to the start in 1902 and 75 dynamic years on the Swedish scene, it's quite clear NK is always right in step with the times.